Welcome back. The Indian Prime Minister and the Pakistani Prime Minister are in a dialogue as we speak. The pictures that are coming in from the Russian city of Ufa, those are the pictures this morning that have made the headlines. The two leaders meeting really for the first time in a one-on-one since May last year, when Nawaz Sharif had come down for Prime Minister Narendra Modi's swearing in. Since then, there hasn't been a one-on-one meeting, although they've encountered each other at the SAARC summit. But this is really the first, in a sense, dialogue, which is an attempt being made to reset the dialogue process that was interrupted in August last year. Is it another false dawn, or is it really a new engagement? Who better to tell us that than G. Parthasarathi, who's seen many a false dawn as a former High Commissioner of India to Pakistan. How am I to interpret this handshake, sir? Is it an icebreaker, or is it simply, in your view, talks about talks? First of all, good morning and welcome.
Thank you. Firstly, it's not one-on-one. One-on-one talks, it's a delegation level meeting. And there is a difference.
There is a difference.
There is a substantial difference when you are seriously going to discuss things just one-on-one with the head of government.
Last year was
technically, I should technically, correct me if I'm wrong, and both of you diplomats, I should not be calling it a summit in any form.
No, you can call it a summit, but delegation level.
That's
the delegation level talks.
Yes.
That's one. The second thing I would like to mention is that even in times of conflict, a line of communications has to be maintained. During Kargil, I met Nawaz Sharif. We had Sartaj Aziz coming to India. There was a back channel going. So I think it is important that lines of communication and conveying of messages should always be open, whatever the circumstances. Second, we have to draw a distinction between a dialogue process and a process of engagement. Okay? A process of engagement is to set the atmospherics right to go ahead with a dialogue process. I think what we are attempting really at this stage is a process of engagement. I don't see any major earth-shaking things coming out, and we shouldn't expect it. That's wrong. Don't forget, this has come on the day, as far as the Indian public is concerned, of the killing of an Indian Jawan, at which the army chief was present for his last rites. That has its own meaning. So I think let us be very, very clear. Within Pakistan, as far as I am concerned, the two Sharifs are daggers drawn. The Sharif, who's the real Sharif, who's Nawaz Sharif, and the Sharif, who's Sharif with other views, Rahil Sharif, the army.
Basically, one is Sharif, one is Badmash.
I mean, you say you
won't get into
that's unfair.
That's unfair.
It's completely unfair.
Okay.
And it's unparliamentary
I've
too.
said it.
Okay, go ahead.
I've said it the way I've said it.
Yes, go ahead.
And even Jyoti hasn't objected, which is okay. Now,
I agree with you, Partha, for a change, actually.
So I think this process will have to go on. But you know my views. I think, let us be very clear that we can no longer be accepting infiltration and killing of our soldiers. The retribution will have to be there. That's one aspect of it. The other aspect is that a process of engagement, if you can get it by the foreign secretary's meeting or whatever, it is good to keep in touch. It also convinces the world of our intentions, not the sort of reaction which came from that minister after we went into Myanmar. I mean, that was absurd.
Rajyavardhan Rathore.
Okay.
What would you do to him?
Just a minute.
So I think what is important is to appear to the world to be reasonable, but under a velvet glove keep a mailed fist.
No, so is the Prime Minister keeping a velvet glove at the moment?
No,
I don't know. Is this a velvet glove handshake? I mean, is there?
No. You don't shake hands with a velvet glove. You take off the metal in your fingers also. But the fact of the matter is, the handshake is a handshake which is between heads of government. If we get I would be satisfied if we get a feeling that there will be a process of engagement.
How am I reconciling the two images that I'm seeing? There, the army chief, as you said, a soldier killed on the LOC in yesterday's sniper firing from Pakistan, and the two leaders shaking hands. Reconcile those two images for our viewers. That's the paradox.
No. The paradox you would have to recognize exists, and therefore your response is at multiple levels.
So it's more realistic. It's less romantic.
Let us not be romanticized. As I say, I'm delighted with the way the Eastern neighborhood is going. We are having road connectivity, you are having electricity connectivity, things are moving with Bangladesh, with Myanmar, Bhutan and others, and Sri Lanka. Let's go ahead with that and let Pakistan realize it has to catch up with other neighbors.
Interesting. I mean, Mr. Parthasarathi, in the morning sometimes you tend to be a little more
mellowed
than normal.
No, I think his mailed fist is very much sort of, it's not showing yet. But I just want to say, I agree with you, Partha, completely on the fact that General Dalbir Singh Subhag, the army chief, has gone for the last rites of the BSF
Last rites of a BSF man.
Of a BSF soldier. And remember, in January 2013, when an Indian BSF young chap was killed on the international boundary, it was Sushma Swaraj, then leader of the opposition in the Lok Sabha, who said that, and he was beheaded, unfortunately, when she said that for one head we will behead 10 people.
No, there has been rhetoric which I think Mr. Parthasarathi, I'm glad, has even described what Major Rathod said as a deeply unfortunate statement, unnecessary.
I thought he was a Lieutenant Colonel. I would have expected better from him.
Okay. Fair, point taken. Let me get a Pakistani viewpoint for a moment. Nadeem Paracha, senior journalist, is joining me from Karachi at the moment. I appreciate your joining us there from Pakistan. Your sense, here the belief is that this is more about engagement, not about dialogue. Is that how you see it, that this is really only a first small step that the two sides have taken to bring back the engagement on some kind of steady path?
Yeah, there have been too many small steps and not enough the sort of steps that are required. Well, one can say, yes, it's a small step, but let's hope this time it goes a bit more further than it has been allowed to by both the sides, I would say, for all sorts of reasons.
As Sadia Khan, there is a belief that in Pakistan that Prime Minister Sharif felt let down by the manner in which India called off the talks in August. Is that true, Sadia, that there was a feeling in the Pakistan political establishment that Mr. Sharif had come to India, attended the Prime Minister's swearing in, and that 2 months later India called off the talks, and there was a feeling that Sharif personally felt let down?
That's very unfortunate comment or a statement from your side. Because for few things, you people must be clear on that all democratic elected government of Pakistan and all other forces in Pakistan, they are on same page. When there is peace is involved, when there is harmony of region is involved, and if anybody is considering that he's let down, that's very unfortunate, because
what I'm trying to get
law and order situation.
No, what I'm trying to get at, and maybe Raj, you wanted, because you've been speaking to both sides. Was there a feeling that in May there was the bonhomie, and in August, foreign secretary level talks, forget about prime ministers, foreign secretary talks are called off because on the eve of the talks, the Pakistan High Commissioner, as he always does, invites the Hurriyat for a dialogue. Was there a feeling of being let down on the Pakistani side, or a belief in India that we finally now set the terms of the engagement, that you cannot? And we have now been told that the Pakistan envoy has actually cancelled an iftar that he was to have for the separatists. Have we set that line in sand that this we will not accept?
No, I think if you're recalling the cancellation of the foreign secretary talks, that was an overreach. Clearly, India shouldn't have done that.
Does India recognize that?
I think that is without getting into, see, when you get into a dialogue now and if you start saying so-and-so has done a U-turn, you put enormous amount of pressure. I like the approach of Ambassador Parthasarathi, who should have been cynical since he was a former ambassador and there's been many false dawns. But here is a chance again that for them to move forward. But as you've said, it's not a line on the sand in terms of national security, and that's why you're seeing those images of the Army Chief there. There's going to be no compromises. Pakistan must understand that.
Can I just hold on, because Hamid Mir is also joining me at the moment. Hamid, is there a sense that after August, Nawaz Sharif felt let down and was disinclined after that to reach out to Prime Minister Modi? And what has changed in the last couple of weeks?
I think that Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif felt betrayed, because 1 year ago when he visited India to greet Mr. Modi on his inauguration, he was very optimistic. He wanted to promote India-Pakistan relations.
he asked his Trade Minister Khurram Dastagir Khan to make a very comprehensive agreement which can remove a lot of barriers between the trade of India and Pakistan. But after Mr. Modi's speech in Bangladesh last month, a lot of things have changed in Pakistan. The peace lobby is very weak now. And it is not 1 year ago's spirit. Nawaz Sharif is also changed. I know that...
Are you saying... hold on. Are you saying, Hamid Mir, that the speech that Prime Minister Modi gave in Bangladesh, where he spoke about 1971, was received badly in Pakistan? Why then is Mr. Sharif responding to the overture of the Indian Prime Minister?
Because Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif was approached by the Indian side through your Foreign Secretary, Mr. Jaishankar. He contacted our Foreign Secretary, Azaz Chaudhary, on 3rd of July, and they requested for a meeting. So before leaving for Oslo, Nawaz Sharif consulted with his cabinet ministers, and they exchanged views that what should we talk with Mr. Modi. So unfortunately, most of the peace lovers in the cabinet, I know them. 1 year ago, they were with Nawaz Sharif for promoting peace with India. But this time they said that you should go with an agenda of tit for tat. If he will talk good things with you, you should talk good. But if he will raise some controversial issues, then you should also raise some controversial issues.
Are you saying therefore the hardliners actually have the edge at the moment in Pakistan, that the hardline group which doesn't want Nawaz Sharif to go too far in this dialogue process are actually strengthened at the moment?
My dear Rajdeep, you can see the hardliners and the hawks in the delegation right now. The delegation who was meeting with the Indian delegation, the Pakistani delegation is full of hawks and hardliners. So, you see, I think that Mr. Modi has created a lot of problems for Nawaz Sharif, and now he should pay the price.
No, hold on. When you are saying that, and I'll only persist with this on one more, are you saying that there is no trust at all that the Pakistani establishment has of Narendra Modi at the moment?
You see, I am talking about the delegation which is meeting Mr. Modi right now. The delegation is full of hawks and hardliners, and the presence of people like Mr. Tariq Fatmi in this delegation is very meaningful for me. And the message which I got is that there is a lot of mistrust.
There's a lot of mistrust. Okay, I'm going to leave it there. Mr. Parthasarathy is just about digesting the breakfast that I'm giving him. I'll give him time to digest it and respond to what you've said. Hamid Mir, I appreciate your joining us. So, Hamid Mir suggesting that unlike the mood which is perhaps being built up in India at the moment, that this is an opportunity for the two sides to break the ice, Hamid Mir pouring a little bit of cold water on it, suggesting that the hawks and the hardliners on the Pakistani side will not let Mr. Sharif really reach out to Narendra Modi on this occasion. That's what he said. We'll take a break and then get the Indian response to what we've heard from Hamid Mir. Back in a moment with plenty more.